Bear Down Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast. Back at it again. Who is that guy, ladies and gentlemen? David Kaplan, back in the building. It's been a while, Kaplan.
Been a while. I've been wondering if you were ever going to have me back. Pat, the designer, is a star. I'm looking at the setup here, and I'm like, and I'm a content guy. I'm like, wow, you are just kicking ass. I do have a question. Hoodie and I were just talking about this.
Okay.
How did you? I don't know the answer. So if you've answered it before, pardon me.
Okay.
How do you get the name Pat the Designer? Like, how did that come? Like, what did you design?
So in the beginning, I got the name literally because I was trying to come up with a rap name for when I was doing music. New single out, tap in with it, greatest ever on all DSPs. And I literally was like, I need to come up with something like, I don't know, Tyler the Creator. And my guy was like, oh, call yourself Pat the Designer. And I was like, all right, that sounds cool. I'll stick with it. And that's where it started. And then I started designing clothing. I started doing, when I started doing sports talk, I kind of changed the meaning of it to I'm designing life how I want it to be. So I stuck with it. It applies to everything.
I did not know. And I said to Hoodie, was he an interior designer before he got into creating? He's like, I don't know. You should ask him.
The great thing about it is I'm almost fairly certain there's a person on LinkedIn that if you look up Pat the Designer, they are an interior designer.
That's awesome.
And their name on LinkedIn is Pat the Designer. But I think I'm using it a little bit more. That's funny. I've never had anybody ask me that on the podcast. There you go. You get the insight on that. It's good to have you back, Cappy. It is not the season that we had hoped for to this point, but maybe not the season that we didn't expect. But I'm excited to have you back because the last time you were here, and you've come up with some phenomenal merch since then, the theme was chasing greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to start off with this question, Cappy. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Are we still chasing greatness? Is
100%.
Ryan Poles right now chasing greatness with this team?
Yes. Not with this 2024 team. It's the concept of chasing greatness at the quarterback position and trying to finally chase ultimate greatness with a franchise that for far too long has been lost in the wilderness.
Right.
So, do they have a good enough offensive line? They do not. Do they have a bunch of injuries they're dealing with? Yes, they do. Do I think they need to upgrade at their head coaching position? 100%. But I think the quest is they're always chasing greatness.
And that's where my concern comes in, right? Because you said that, we were talking about it, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's chase greatness. But don't do what you did with Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we've run back for the second season in a row. How can you possibly chase greatness when you've put this young man in this situation that the Bears have put him in? Because 29 sacks already on the season. He's the third most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more better season than now, Kev, to tell you what's important. And it's not that Ryan Poles didn't have the ability to attempt it, to chase greatness, as you said. He chose not to.
You talking about on the offensive line?
On the offensive line,
yeah.
100%. You put this kid back there. You didn't pick Keenan Allen over going out and getting an offensive line. You didn't draft Rome Odunze over going to get an offensive line. Right now, I have a massive problem with Ryan Poles. Not to say I want him fired. This is not fire Poles time. We're not there. Eberflus, you got to win.
Story.
You got to win a lot of games in a row for me to maybe get off of that train right now.
Agreed.
But you drafted a brand new quarterback, did everything you wanted to do, and had the ability to protect this young man, and said that's not worth it. To me, that is not chasing greatness. To me, that is setting this young man up to have a start to his career that mirrors David Carr's, and that is scary to me.
Okay, I'll tell you that I don't think Ryan, and I'm not disagreeing with you that they did not have a good enough offensive line. I don't think Ryan looked at it and said, I don't want to chase greatness at offensive line. I think there was a miscalculation. Obviously, Nate Davis was a bad buy.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, I think they thought Braxton will take another step and Darnell Wright will take another step. My problem with it is, I think everything should start with A, your left tackle,
100%.
B, your center. I think if you have a quality, elite center, that guy commands the room in there.
100%.
Like when Olin Kreutz was there, I don't care if my quarterback can't tell me who the Mike linebacker is or can't identify the blitz. Olin could.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got this. 54's the Mike.
Yeah.
And he played I looked at Olin's numbers today. Do you know that 8 straight years and I think 9 out of 10, he played all 16 games. Was he healthy all 16? No, but he found a way to get on the field.
Yeah.
But what do elite centers make? Creed Humphrey signed 4 for 72. What's that? 18 million a year?
Yep.
Okay, Coleman Shelton's on a 1-year deal for $3 million. You get what you pay for. I'm not anti-Coleman Shelton. I'm anti the decision that we're going to bargain basement shop at center. We're going to bargain basement shop with a 5th-round pick at left tackle. Nate Davis. I mean, we heard after he signed that he doesn't really like to practice. What?
Yeah.
Plus, how much does a good guard make? 21 million?
Yeah.
19 million? He makes 10. Again, you're shopping at the dollar store. You got to get serious about fixing it.
Yeah, and I think that's my concern. That's why, to me, I think the whole debate we had last year, it got mired in Justin Fields over Caleb Williams. My thing was, you can put anyone back there if they're protected. And our GM, no matter the GM, how long you been here, Cap? How many times have we had a good offensive line in Chicago? Like, it's always been the problem in this city, and it's my biggest problem, even heading into this Patriots game. I can't sit here and tell you the Bears are going to go out there and dominate, because I saw a pass rush last week, a 3-man rush on a defense that is an absolute joke versus every other team in the NFL.
Kick our ass.
Destroy us up front.
Agreed.
And it's not because you don't have guys that are knowledgeable. Coleman Shelton knows where he's supposed to be. He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows who he's supposed to block. He engages with that man. He gets thrown to the ground. My biggest problem is that was your backup plan, Cappy. Your starting center was a backup right guard that you traded a 4th-round pick for and said he's going to be able to do it. He's played 150 snaps. Now you may get this guy back on IR, back from IR. We may be able to see it, but all of your plans aren't good plans on the offensive line. Yes, you got the quarterback right. But you know what? I've seen a lot of quarterbacks that people believed you got the quarterback wrong with this season dominate because they're protected. Look up north with Minnesota. Sam Darnold. What were we saying about Sam Darnold 3 years ago?
Bust.
One of the worst picks ever. All of a sudden, he's protected, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, because he's got an elite coach. Look, when we talk about chasing greatness, I'm chasing greatness in every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
I wanted to marry someone who I felt like made me better, and we have a great family, and I did. If I, determine I want to go get a nice car, I want to have the best car I can afford to buy that will get me where I want to go. I don't want to just settle. I'll get that jalopy over there. And it's the same thing when you hire an offensive coordinator. I don't want to hear that guy's the best, but he's going to cost $4 million. We'll get that one over there because he costs $2 million.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. And then who's the best coach in the NFC North? For my money, it's probably Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
I love Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
He might be number one. And Kevin O'Connell is an outstanding football coach. We're 4th.
Yeah.
We're 4th.
Yeah.
Who's got the best offensive line in the NFC North? For sure, it's the Lions.
That's the NFL.
But Minnesota, before Darisaw blew his knee, Green Bay, they're all better. So we're 4th on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And we can keep stacking all these position groups and go, why are they better than us at all these different spots?
Yeah. I think it comes down to the one spot, though. The 5 guys up front for me.
Got to fix it.
To me, is Shane Waldron the 4th worst OC in this division?
Yes.
If Caleb is protected. We saw 3 weeks of Caleb actually getting some protection. All of a sudden, he looks like a quarterback. We're going, wait a minute, hold on. Do we have an offense?
Yeah.
We're excited. Yes, it was versus bad defenses. Guess what? You just played 2 bad defenses, and they just kicked the crap out of you.
Well, how does your tight end get 1 target in 2 games? Cole Kmet. You signed him for $50 million.
Yeah.
That's not some undrafted rookie free agent. That's Cole freaking Kmet. 1 target in 2 games?
Because, and not to say 1 target is unacceptable. You have to do more. But over the last 2 games, he's had to help Darnell Wright a heck of a lot because your top 10 pick on the offensive line is getting his butt kicked every time to the outside.
He's regressed.
It's scary.
I remember when we drafted him, Louis Riddick was on with us. And he said, guys, that kid is going to be a first-team All-Pro in the next 3 years. What?
Yeah.
He looks horrible.
Yeah. It's scary. And not to say he can't bounce back. Clearly he's been dealing with something all year. I remember coming out of training camp, he had some injuries he was dealing with. Probably has never been healthy. But like you just said with Olin, you got to fight through. You got to find a way to get on the field. You got to find a way to make a play. He hasn't been able to make a play. Tevin Jenkins has been horrible. Every decision you've made that you've rolled with at the offensive line has been horrible. And so it's very difficult for me to sit here and go, yeah, you're chasing greatness when you, like you said, you're bargain bin shopping. I think you got the quarterback. I don't think you missed.
I agree.
I think you're going to kill him. He's on pace for 62 sacks in his rookie year.
Okay, then why is he in the game with 2.5 minutes to go, down 29-9?
Fireable decision.
And I asked Eberflus, and he said, guys, we're working on the 2-minute drill. I said, Coach, you got to protect this kid. Yeah, and we got to let him do his job too. And look, if you told me the score was 29-17, all right. It was 29-9, and you had zero chance you were coming back. And you weren't
moving the ball.
And he was sacked 6 times.
And you're sitting here having the conversation on, we want to have him go in the 2-minute drill and make sure that he's getting that work in. And it's like, well, me and you were playing O-line by the end. I saw you take a snap, Cappy. It was impressive.
Yeah, thanks.
It was an impressive
snap. Tried to just stay on my feet.
You got thrown around a little bit. You got to get a better base in there.
Yeah, I got to get a little wider. But you had Darnell Wright was already out.
Yep.
Braxton Jones was already out.
Yep. Karan Amagaji went out.
Amagaji was gone. So, Coach, what are we doing, man?
Yeah.
Come on. And then he tweaks the ankle, and I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Caleb's down.
Yeah.
Like if Caleb had gotten seriously hurt, to me, that's a fireable thing.
I think, listen, when you talk about the coach, there's so many fireable things. I've never, and I'm sure that they won't, but has there ever been a Bears head coach that you've seen, and we've seen some bad ones here, that has had more of a resume to be fired in season? Wani was bad. But you knew Wani just didn't have a hold of the team, right? Lovey had some bad years after a while, but he was good enough. He had the reputation where you're supposed to be here. Trestman was terrible. You fired him after 2 years. You let him finish out a season after he went 8-8 the first year to see if he could get it together, right? Like, your coaching staff legitimately, Kat, has cost you 5 games in 2 years. 4 of those games, you had a 90% plus chance to win the game. I've never seen this in my life.
Me either.
You also had your offensive coordinator cost you a game versus the Colts by running one of the most inexplicable NFL plays I've ever seen. I don't know high school teams that run speed option on the goal line.
The whole 4-play seed.
Yeah.
So you're 4th and inches at the 5. You run Roshan Johnson correctly. He gets the first down.
Yeah.
Now it's 1st and goal at the 4. Roshan, come out of the game. And you go Wildcat with Khalil Herbert, who's not even here anymore. Now the 2nd down, you hand to Khalil Herbert. The 3rd down, you hand to Khalil Herbert. But, and I posted this on Twitter, you ask DeAndre Carter to block Tyquan Lewis, the Ohio State kid coming off the edge at 267 pounds.
He threw DeAndre Carter
into Khalil Herbert. And then you run a speed option, and you go, I can't believe we didn't get in. No shit.
And to me, this is a coaching staff that deserves to be fired in season. I would have fired him after Arizona because of leaving Caleb Williams out there. That's just cause on top of everything else that we've just mentioned. Do you agree?
I've said that they need a change. The only pushback people I've asked who are around the team or in the league that I'm a knee-jerk reaction person.
No.
Yeah. I'm ready, shoot, aim. Oh, sorry.
I missed.
He would not be here for me.
Yeah.
He would already be gone. But the thing is, who are you handing the keys to? You're not bringing Belichick here because you want a 72-year-old coach, and he was a great football coach. I don't want Belichick here. I'm not hiring Pete Carroll. He's 73 or 74.
Yeah.
Now, if you told me you're going to go get Mike Vrabel and you're going to make him the head coach, you better be prepared that he's a culture changer now.
Yeah.
Like people who I've talked to a guy who played for him, and he said, look, I love him. He's a great coach. He's intense, man.
Yeah.
Like blank would change up at Hallis Hall. He's not tolerating some of this stuff. He holds you accountable. But if you're not doing that and you're going to launch a search, who's coaching your team the rest of the year?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Vrabel is an interesting name. Belichick is an interesting name for me for two reasons. Well, for one reason in particular, Vrabel for me stands out because Mike Vrabel's the one who said Nate Davis is not talented. Get him off my team. He is the one who came out and said he does not practice. You will practice here. Get him off my team. You're already a leg up in my book,
right?
Because I've been saying this for 3 years.
He doesn't tolerate nonsense.
He's not going to play around.
No.
The thing about Belichick that intrigues me, and I know it would be a change, but what stat about Tom Brady that is the most important thing in the world changes his whole career? Tom Brady's the GOAT, unquestioned in my mind. 7 championships, there's no question about it. He is literally the worst quarterback, numbers-wise, ever when he's pressured. Bill Belichick understood that. Well, we don't have a great wide receiver here. We got to figure. We got Wes Welker. We got to figure it out at receiver. No, we don't. Get him 5 dudes in front of him. He will turn anybody you put on the other side of that ball into a receiver. He will make sure that there's somebody there. Now, it helps when you have Gronk, helps when you have those pieces.
And he gets the ball out fast.
But Belichick understands that. It's why I'm not 100% out on him. And I think that's the one thing Ryan Poles doesn't get. As a former offensive lineman, I've said this a couple of times, Cappy picks players that look like him. He picks players that are like, when you look at Ryan Poles, and I'm not talking about like playing like him, but like literally Braxton Jones is built like what Ryan Poles was built like. Mm-hmm. Ryan Poles from a smaller school. Braxton Jones, smaller school. You went out and got Karana Magaji. Looks just like Braxton Jones. And realistically speaking, starts the season injured. I don't know, as a former offensive lineman, if Ryan Poles knows what he's looking at, and I need people in the building to do.
Belichick would be an intriguing thing to do. He's 72 years of age. Now, he doesn't look 72. He doesn't act 72. He's got a 24-year-old
the girlfriend is
24-year-old girlfriend who dressed as a mermaid for Halloween, and he was the fisherman.
And he's the fisherman. What's going on there?
Like, wow.
Will you be there at some point, Cap? Will you be a fisherman and the wife be a mermaid?
My wife
next Halloween.
My wife will not dress as a mermaid. No shot. But I did dress as a shark this year.
Okay, all right. That's close. So maybe you're the fish and she's catching you.
That might.
I like that.
If Belichick was younger, I would absolutely take a chance. 72, man. I don't know. Now, again, you might say, I need to get 5 years out of it, dude. Maybe.
5 years.
I would definitely interview Mike Vrabel 1,000%.
Yeah.
And I know there are those out there that go, we got to hire an offensive coach. And that's nonsense in my world. You just hire the best CEO that will change the culture, hold 53 men accountable. And if he's a defensive coach, great. Mike Tomlin was a defensive style coach. Belichick, defensive. Pete Carroll was a D coordinator. Or is Ben Johnson the guy? Yes, he has a great offense. How is he any different than Matt Nagy when he got hired? Name offensive coach.
I'll say this. I think that Ben Johnson will probably be a better leader, but there's a reason why Ben Johnson's offense works. I don't have Penei Sewell on this team.
Right. I don't have Taylor Decker or Frank Ragnow.
There's a reason it worked. No matter what, I'm not saying he's not I think he's a phenomenal tactician. I think that he can get the most out of his team.
53 men accountable. You don't.
I don't know that, but I'm assuming based on how his offense plays, he has a similar accountability style to what the head coach is showing.
How is he different than Matt Nagy?
Well, I don't think he is, because I think the position you'd put him in is the same. Matt Nagy you brought in, and maybe he had the quarterback, maybe he didn't, but you once again never addressed the offensive line. You had Kyle Long here, who I thought was a phenomenal player, but was injured all the time, and you couldn't protect your quarterback. Kyle Long would come on the show. Was it with you guys after? He would come on the show and go, Mitch has nothing to do with what's happening out there. He's getting killed before he gets an opportunity to even look down the field. I don't think Mitch is good. In Buffalo and Seattle or in Pittsburgh, you can see he's got a talent deficiency. But if you protect him, you can see that immediately and make the decision.
Correct.
You haven't protected a quarterback since Grossman. Legitimately. Jay Cutler was the most sacked QB in the NFL multiple times. Like, I think it just we've got on this carousel how many times? We're gonna get the quarterback, fire the coach. 3 years in, we're gonna move on from the quarterback, draft the quarterback, leave the coach there, fire the coach, get the new quarterback. Like, at a certain point, you got to get off the ride and go, hey, maybe it's not the coaches and the quarterback. Maybe we need to protect one of these guys. 37 quarterbacks in 20 years. All of them suck?
Fair.
I mean,
Fair. Fair.
I don't know. I'm just.
So if you go back in the draft 2024, with the 9th pick, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze.
Yep.
I told you could have that as a do-over. Do you go with the 9th pick, the Chicago Bears select Olu Fashanu, offensive lineman, Penn State, who, by the way, went to high school with Caleb.
Yeah.
Do you do that? 7 guys after Rome, 7 offensive linemen were drafted in the first round.
I don't think you need to do that because centers weren't drafted. That's the position I think is most egregious. It's where I think the breakdown is happening, and the centers didn't start going till later. I would love to upgrade the left tackle position with Braxton Jones, but I think that's one that with the draft capital you have coming into this season, you still could have done. You could have survived with Braxton on that left side. You can't survive with Braxton and everyone else dead. For me, I've said this. You want Rome Odunze? Go get Rome Odunze. You want to trade for Keenan Allen? Trade for Keenan Allen. I think you've built a phenomenal room of weapons. You going out and getting a punter in the 4th round is asinine. Mm-hmm. You going out, and I love Austin Booker. I think he's going to be a player. You going out and drafting Austin Booker in the 5th round, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I package those 2 picks, either the Carolina or my 2nd round pick in the next season. I say I need to move back up in the 2nd round. I understand people go, well, you got to have people that want to trade with you. Teams want picks. There's probably a team there that plays ball with you. I either go get Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier, who went after JPJ, I believe, who is a stud center for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Again, it's not you couldn't do it, Cap. You didn't. I don't understand it. At no point.
Fair.
And even then, free agency gets here. Connor Williams available. Who's the lineman that Washington picked up?
Tyler Biadasz. Why is he?
He's there.
But you, again, I don't know. Maybe Eric can look up the contract what Tyler Biadasz made.
$330, I believe. 3 years.
Okay, well, you
million.
signed a guy for 1 for 3. It's okay. Look, you want to buy a really nice camera like you have here? Or do you want to go over to the dollar store and they got a camera for $99.99? How come Pat's show is so blurry? Because he bought a shitty camera.
We had a couple of those episodes early on. We had a couple of those in. That's why I brought the camera out.
Come on, Jayhawk. Let's go, Danny.
But no, man, it's just, and I think here's the thing. Where's your outlook for the rest of the season right now?
Not good.
We're 4-4 now. You got the Patriots coming up.
I was just watching the Get Up while we were on the air.
Yeah.
We have the nice big 3 monitors, in the studio.
Yeah.
And there's Joe Fortenbaugh, who's the gambling guru of ESPN. What is your best bet in the NFL season the rest of the year? Best bet. It's not the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. It's not Josh Allen to be MVP. It's the Bears to go under 7.5 wins. Under 7.5. You lose to New England, and they won at Cincinnati early in the season, first game of the year.
Yep.
And they are our injury list is like
we got
that.
a CVS receipt.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. And I can't tell you I'm picking the Bears, but I can't tell you I'm confident in that pick.
Yeah.
What if you lose this game and you're 4-5?
If you lose this game and you're
with Green Bay coming.
If you lose this game and you're 4-5 and you don't fire the coach, now I'm starting to look at the GM and say, you got problems. Because that's the only thing.
Are you sure they're letting him buy out the contract? Biggs reported this week he thinks there's 2 more years left. I'm not saying they are or aren't. I'm just asking the question.
I think right now, and we heard from the report from Adam Rank yesterday as well, that he believes that no matter what happens, Flus is back. I think that I
don't believe that at all.
I don't know about that. And here's why I say that. I think that may be the right now. I'm not saying that Adam is wrong. I think that may be the right now. A lot changes in this.
How much did we hear last year? Oh, Kevin Lawrence said really nice things about Justin. He's going nowhere. All this every day was nonsense.
But I think right now that may hold true. You know how this team is, Cap. Let them lose to the Packers. if he loses to the Packers, there's a phone call coming through. It ain't going to be George. It's going to be Virginia on the other side going, Kevin, what's going on up there? We might need to make some change. Oh, you thought I wasn't watching? No, I'm still here. I'm still with it. You thought I wasn't watching? What's going on up there?
They hate the Packers. If you lose to New England and Green Bay comes in here, and I'm not saying you lose 21-20 in a great game, you get trucked by the Packers. I don't know how he survives. The only question, I'll go back to what I said to you earlier. Who's coaching your team the rest of the season? Is there anyone on that staff that you go, I'll let that guy coach it?
I would look at Eric Washington. He intrigues me a lot. He's the defensive guy I thought Flus was gonna be. He feels like a defensive guy. You know, like offensive guys, they come out, they talk like Shane Waldron. Well, you know, we got the sky. The sky is blue. That means blue 42. And at the end of the 42, you know, you got to set hut. And then on the edge, we're setting that edge. And that's what we're talking about. And here we go. Yeah, I mean, we're making all that happen. Eric Washington is like, we got to be better. I got to be better. This is what we got to figure out. I'd give him a flyer. And I think that you have insulated this team. The one thing I'll give Ryan Poles credit for, because I don't think Flus hired any of these guys. I think you insulated this team with a lot of good talent around the league. Thomas Brown is over there, right? You bring in Shane with Thomas Brown to help as the QB coach. Like, I think Eric Washington helping out Flus with his defense. I think it's insulated enough that you get through this season. You punted on the season, if we're being real, Cap, when you didn't address anything at the trade deadline. You traded away Khalil Herbert. You got a 7th-round pick. Good job. The Bears aren't trying to win anymore.
Well,
the team may be, but Ryan Poles is not.
Were you going to give up one of those top 3 picks? You got 2 2s and a 1. Were you trading one?
I would have traded one of the 2s to protect Caleb Williams.
I don't think there was no offensive lineman traded.
There weren't. There's
nobody out there.
But
and you're going to take a 30-year-old offensive lineman with a 2nd-round pick that could be number 33 overall from Carolina. I'm not doing it.
You finish out this season with Caleb probably finishing with 62 sacks then. Maybe Ryan Bates comes in and saves you. Maybe he doesn't. For me, this season is now all about developing Caleb.
I just heard Brad Holmes on a podcast, GM of the Lions, and they asked him, you really don't trade your draft picks like he just did to go get Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
He said, look, our window to win a Super Bowl is right now.
Yeah.
He goes, so I owe it to those guys in the locker room when Aiden went down. I owe it to them. He goes, and we didn't give up a ton.
You didn't. You gave up nothing
like
to get
4
Zadarius Smith.
He said, I'm not trading 1s, 2s, and 3s. He goes, that's how we have Penei Sewell, and that's how we have Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's how we have Jamison Williams. He goes, we have players because I will not move my draft capital.
I agree with that philosophy. I like that Ryan Poles has been that way. What I don't like is that you haven't utilized that draft capital on guys to keep a quarterback alive.
That's fair.
That's
100% fair.
Detroit's GM is going, Penei Sewell. We need to make sure that whoever's back there. Think about Jared Goff. What was the story on Jared Goff? Nice quarterback. You can win with him. If the running game's not there,
you can't win because of him.
If the running game's not there, he's bad. And you can't win because of him. Remember in the Super Bowl, it was Todd Gurley, right? Was that the banger? Todd Gurley, and he didn't have a great game. You needed Jared
10-3.
10-3. You needed Jared Goff to win the game, and he couldn't on his arm. That Jared Goff does not exist today because you have been able to sit him down, develop him behind an offensive line.
Greatest break of his life was getting traded to Detroit.
He was supposed to be the bridge guy there. He was supposed to be a dude that made the money work, and you were gonna go get a quarterback.
Correct. And now they're gonna.
Now he may be the MVP.
Correct. It's unbelievable.
I'm concerned, and I don't see that for us with the focus not being there, and that's why for me, if you lose to the Patriots and then you go into Green Bay. And you don't move on from Flus. It's here. And you don't move on from Flus, you're not going to have a shot in the arm. You know, you get that little boost of like, oh, okay, we're changing things around.
But
like,
if you need those 2 and you're 4-6,
season's over.
It's already over.
Season's over. And now you just, but at that point, what do you do with Caleb Williams? How do you develop this young man? Now you put him in the same position as Justin Fields. Now you've given him the rookie year Justin had. Get out there, kid, figure it out. Try not to die on the left side because we got Jason Peters trying to block Myles Garrett.
Remember that?
You're running it back.
Doing the same thing.
I don't call that chasing greatness in my book, Cap.
Right. Because then it's just words.
Yeah. I don't call that chasing greatness. But we'll see what happens. What's your expectation for this week? You said you're picking the Bears to win. Is it a confident win?
I have the Bears winning. I think I said 24-20.
All right.
Something like that.
Solid win. It's a
Close,
solid
2017.
That's not a confident win, I guess.
You lose
because,
this game. Coach, good morning. How are you? And we got to interview Eberflus. It's not going to go well.
I give you credit. For bulldogging him and making him
answer.
He's not answering. Let's get that clear. He's not answering. I give you credit for making it known that you're just not going to answer this question. Because a lot of people won't ask the follow-up. A lot of people won't. This is the question, coach. And the coach goes, sometimes the sun's up, sometimes it's down. You never know with the mood. And you're like, are you going to sit Tyreek Stevenson? Well, I'm not going to answer that here. We're not going to. Okay, all right. So you're evading the question. You did a great job on that.
I appreciate it. Well, the one that has gotten a lot of attention apparently was when, Coach, why didn't you take a timeout? You had 3 of them before the Hail Mary. We didn't need a timeout, guys. We had everything the way we wanted it. I said, Coach, with all due respect, I got to push back on you. You had Tyreek Stevenson in the corner with the fans. And when you pulled it up on tape, if it didn't make your blood boil, I don't know what's going on then.
Yeah.
I don't think he liked that.
Hey, listen,
well.
You can like it or you cannot. It's your team.
But if you were the questioner, I'm the coach. You asked me that exact same question. I'm saying to you, look, what Tyreek did is absolutely unconscionable to me. It is egregious. It will be dealt with. You guys don't need to know about it, but he will be disciplined. And let me just tell you, I could not be more upset with what he did. Instead, he says to us, well, he apologized after the game. No, he actually didn't, Coach.
He apologized on Twitter.
I mean, that's not apologizing.
No, I agree with you. I agree. And I think that's where the concern steps into me. That's where the concern around Flus steps in is you're not even holding yourself accountable, very similar to Matt Nagy, until everybody went, yo, does this dude know accountability? He says the players got to be accountable. All right, is he holding himself accountable? Next game, what do we see at halftime? That's on me, and we got to be accountable for that as a coaching staff. Oh, you heard us. Oh, you're listening. I thought you didn't hear the noise. I love it. I love it every time. We'll see what ends up happening. Thanks for coming back through, Cappy. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a long season, my guy. It's gonna be a long season.
Just beat the Patriots. Be 1-0.
Beat the Packers. Find a way to beat the Packers. The Patriots would be nice, but dog, please, I'm tired of it. At least if they beat the Packers, we can make fun of Packers fan and go, we suck, and you lost to us. That's funny. On you.
It is.
Oh, for David Kaplan, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love. Let us know your thoughts on the outlook of this Bears season. How confident are you that this team is going to be able to go out there and get some wins? Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love.
Take that.
Maybe there's a Bears Dan Campbell run left. I don't know. That's 7-1 to finish.
Doubtful.
Peace.